everyone, and we are back with the Thomas Rankin series, and yep, we are on series 4. Unlike with 2 and 3, once again, I have watched the whole series just to get my thoughts ready for this video. So, I think we know the plot and all this. We're going to crack on, and let's find Grandpuff. Straight away, we're starting series 4 with the best episode of season 4. I don't think I need to go into depth on why Grandpuff is so phenomenal. Like, its tone, like, we are just straight away introduced to Duke, Stuart, and Falcon, the friendship and what Duke means to them, and then taken away, and Duke's just left in the shed for many years now, probably even forgotten, and the story's just left in a cliffhanger. Like, Thomas just leaves the story in suspense. And and obviously I need to do this. Smudge's laugh is just so funny. I love Michelangelo's voice for Smudge. But yeah, Grandpuff straight away is just the best episode of series 4. What a way to start out. And amazing how the first episode of a season straight away worlds builds the island of Sodor. Just so much Grandpuff is big. Like, it's a big episode, but be well built, new characters, tone. It's got everything. And lovely narration, lovely model work, just phenomenal. And Sleeping Beauty. I think it'd be a crime if I didn't put that with Grandpuff. Obviously, I do prefer Grandpuff a bit more, but just generally, you can't watch Grandpuff without Sleeping Beauty. By itself, Grandpuff is such a sad episode. But anyways, Sleeping Beauty is just a lovely story. Like, it's so heartwarming that they find Duke, and they mention Stuart and Falcon, and he's like, they did remember. It's just like, aw. And what's funny, when they're reunited, all Duke complains about is just them waking him up. What a fun way to reunite the characters. I love it so much. I love Grandpuff and Sleeping Beauty. More Grandpuff, though. As I'm going to keep saying that. I'll be like, this episode's great, but Grandpuff's better. I swear I won't do that. But yeah, Sleeping Beauty's a lovely conclusion to the two-parter. Lovely. But Bulldog, where's that? There it is. Bulldog, again, favourite. I'm just going to straight away say I love Duke. I think of the season 4 newbies, Duke is definitely my favourite. We got to see, like, the trio. We got to see, like, how with Bulldog and You Can't Win, that you basically see the dynamic with Falcon and Duke, and then the dynamic with Stuart and Duke. So yeah, we basically got the story of how Falcon respected Duke. Like, the crash though that Falcon had. Oh, I think I did say this in my top 20 favorite episodes. Like, obviously this was my favorite from series 4 on the list at the time. I have a bit of nostalgia. I remember seeing it in the Accidents Happen video, just like the handle falling off with Duke off this cliff, and Duke just tugging for dear life to keep him on. I actually played that with my Airtel trains and replayed that scene, because I did have, and I still do own, my Airtel Sandal and Duke from childhood anyway. So winner, I suppose. It just nostalgia, and just getting series 4 on DVD all those years goes from Woolworths, and just, I didn't do the full play. I actually looked at the episode. It was fortunate it showed a shot of this scene from the selected episode menu, and that was the first episode I watched, and I still love Bulldog to this day. Granted, sorry for mentioning this, but Grandpuff is obviously the winner, but you know what? The Duke episodes are just the best from series 4. I could just purposely just place all 4 on the top, but I'm just going to just put the best of season 4 in general. So, with that said, I think I should obviously say You Can't Win is definitely in my favourites as well. This is obviously like the side of where Stuart learning to respect Duke, and obviously if you tease Duke, he's going to find ways to make you learn common sense. He's there for you, but he's not afraid to pull in a joke on you to make you learn to be more humble. What I love the most about You Can't Win is that what Grandpuff and Sleeping Beauty have, they start off in present day, but the main stories are told in the past, and then they both end in present day again. Bulldog starts in present day, but then it ends with the story in the past. You Can't Win is one of the most unique Thomas episodes, in my opinion, because it fully takes place within the past. That deserves respect. If I do a video of unique Thomas episodes, you can guarantee not Grandpuff, You Can't Win would definitely be on that list for that alone. Wholesome episode. Anyways, let's go into Four Little Engines. And I'm putting this in favourites. I don't know what it is about Four Little Engines. I just love its story. I suppose it's not counting Snow, like it's where Scarlet is the only classic series episode where Scarlet truly takes the lead as his actual character. And I just love the set and the atmosphere of this one. It's just lovely to look at. And you know what? Michael Angelis' narration is just so beautiful in this. I love it so much. But despite not having much to say, I will admit though, like it's a bit baffling. Like I think A Bad Day for Sir Handel and Pete Salmon Refreshment Lady should have been before Four Little Engines, like the original book. But you know what? For its placement, it's alright, to be honest. That's just a little nitpick. I do have some nitpicks with season 4, and I've just mentioned one of them, but Four Little Engines, despite the little nitpick, I can't help but love it. Bad Day for Sir Handel, I think I'm just gonna have to put this in I don't care for. I will watch it when I watch series 4. But when it comes, and if I'll admit today I actually did watch it in the morning, but it's one I don't very rarely visit that often, to be honest. Like, it's just never a story that clicked on me. I know people will have its fans. I'm not a Sir Handel hater, but this is just a story I've just never really cared for. Now, where is it? I'm looking for. There it is. Peter Salmon Refreshment Ladies. We're going back to favourites, and I'm going to be honest. I have a very strong feeling this might have been my first ever Thomas episode. I think it's one of the first few episodes I remember very early seeing. I will tell you that, but I don't know if it was my first or not. I had it like in the Thomas VHS tape playtime. Like I remember that one so well with all the advert, then really useful engine play, and then it started the stories, and Peter Salmon Refreshment Lady kicked it off. I love this one as well because it was basically made because of Audrey's own doing. Because obviously before coming up with the Scarlet Rowley, he visited the Tallyclin Rowley as a volunteer, and he so happened to leave the refreshment lady behind when he was being guard. When he was on the train of Edward Thomas, and the fact he created a whole story about his own doing is honestly pretty hilarious. He's like, oh dear, I've caused mayhem on a railway. I know, I'm going to make a story out of it. It's so funny and creative. I love it. Now, I know some people could think this is just like another version of Thomas and the Guards, but you know what? With season 4 visuals and the nostalgia and just how hilarious how Audrey just made the story makes me laugh because of his own doing. Just deserves to be one of my favourites. So yeah, now where's Trucks? There it is. Trucks, I'm putting this in great. It's definitely got one of the most brutal crashes ever. I mean, poor Peter Sam. I mean, there's no denying that he's one of those characters that had like the most brutal crashes. Like you got to admit, like in A Better View for Gordon had one as well. And to credit, I'm going to say Thomas and Duck as well because they crashed into a Barbizon station master's house. But you know what? Great is really really good. Granted, though, obviously Gordon, he tells Sandra not to say if you want to get out of pulling trucks, just pretend to be ill. Obviously, he did that in series 3, so he didn't learn his lesson there. But you know what? It was nice to introduce Rusty. I will admit this though, Rusty gets offended when Harold's like having a general conversation, and when he finds out, he's just like cheeky chopper. I'm like, is Rusty sensitive? Someone I'm a bit baffled. Like Rusty introduced himself, and Harold just like, don't recall seeing you before. Like, I'm pretty sure any new engine would get it asked like that. I don't know why Rusty was like immediately offended with Howard. Was he like tired or something? I don't get that scene, to be honest, with Howard. And Oh well. But yeah, you know what? For what it is, Trucks is a great episode, and it was a nice introduction to Rusty to set up his little character arc, even though I am baffled with his introduction with Harold. But anyways, Home at Last, where is that? There it is. I don't know where to place this one. I'm torn between either okay or don't care for. No, I'm gonna put this in okay. Like, it's just basically Scarlet coming back and just settling back, and then obviously we're straight up to the man himself, Duncan. Oh my gosh, like I think I should be known. I do love Duncan as a character. Like, he's just blunt and he just rants, and he's got a nice little arc as well. But not much happens, and like season 4's Narrowgauge, it's got lovely, beautiful visuals and music, and it introduces Duncan. But yeah, it's like Bad Day for Sandal. It's only one that I only rarely rewatch when I watch season 4 as a whole. Wait, that's Passengers and Polish. I want rock and roll. I'm putting this in great. I'm gonna have a little story about this. Everyone in the UK, if you ever watch this channel called Nick Jr. Classics, basically it was all like, well, the classic shows. Classic Thomas appeared on that, and the very first episode I actually watched when I first encountered that channel was rock and roll, which is quite funny as well. And you know what? It's a fun little Duncan story, like, and him and Rusty like learning to. You know what? Duncan just makes this episode so much fun. He's just like, I don't need smelly diesels to tell me what to do. And then at the end, he's like, I wish all diesels were like you. Let's be friends. That's a wholesome moment. And yeah, and also don't anger Scarlet. Like, Scarlet telling off Rusty says, think of the passengers. Like, that's Scarlet to you. He thinks of the passengers. I love that moment. And yeah, Duncan just makes this episode. Also, I'm a plain speaking engine and I believe in plain speaking. Speak up. Yeah, I love that line of Duncan so much. Like, Duncan's one of my favourite characters to quote. But anyway, Special Funnel, that's going in favourites. What a, you know what, story wise, not much to it, but the fact it's the only winter themed episode on the whole Narrow Gauge Railway makes it so beautiful. And I think when Unlucky Tug talked about it in his old top 10 best episodes video, he described it so well. Like, he said it reminds him well of so much of home. It reminds me of my home country because obviously, like, Soto's kind of set in the UK. I'm from the UK. And when it's like really wintry and there's dead trees and there's like mist and murky and all that, I immediately think of Special Funnel. When it's winter, there's nothing like a nice cup of tea or hot chocolate, or hell, now for me, even a latte, which is basically coffee, and sometimes a cake, and just watching this episode, there's just something really warmth about it. Atmosphere. This is definitely one of the best atmosphere episodes as well, and just nature playing with the railway and all that. Just a peaceful, calm episode, but not Steamroller. And again, favorites. This is actually starting of this year. This is an episode I've come to really love, that I might actually consider in my top 20 classic series episodes. You know what? It's funny how Sahandel's last big role in season 4 was meeting his match. Like, we see him like as a cheeky but stuck up, stubborn engine and getting into his own troubles and mishaps and causing trouble. What fun a way to make him end his little arc with just meeting his match, which is George. George is just so much fun as a character as well. Like, just these two similar characters meeting up together. Scarlet cause that is like, these are similar. Let's cause mayhem. I just love that so much. And once again, like Duncan, George is just fun to crow, just going like, huh, I don't move for invitation steamrollers. He's just a fun character there. I know what, I really want to include George in one of my own videos, just to do the voice. He's just so much fun. Yeah, Steamroller's just fun and entertaining. I love this one. Now, Passengers and Polish, you know what, I'm just going to put this in great. Granted, it was, when we go back, if you look back at my top 20 favourite episodes list, it was like one of my top 2 favourites from the series 4. Like, it's just, to me, Duncan being Duncan, basically. Also, excuse my French when I say this. I get this from the George Carlin videos, but Duncan did, man. I'm gonna kill the next motherfucker who pisses me off. That just makes me laugh, and whenever I think that, I just can't help but quote that. But yeah, it's just Duncan being Duncan, and I'm gonna be honest. I remember owning the Thomas and Stepney VHS tape for like rent. And I remember when I saw this episode, the shot of Duncan crossing the viaduct, that just stood out for me. And then every other VHS tape I tried to watch, I just couldn't find the episode, which honestly annoyed me. And like with, I think it was Nick Jr. Classics where I got to finally see this episode again. It was just like a tick off the list, to be honest. Not much to say except it's just a Duncan story being a Duncan story. Gallant Old Engine next, and I'm putting this in great again. It's a nice little for Duncan to realise the importance of passengers, and basically, without just the story, not seeing it for himself or just hearing about it, well, but from the past, Duncan and pretty much every other engine prior to him leaving earns respect for Rheneas. Like, he got damaged during a terrible storm, and he just carried on to prevent the railway from closing. You know what? Peter, Sam, Sir Handel, Duncan, Rusty, they would have never have come to Sodor had the Scarlet Railway been closed if it weren't for Rheneas. He definitely has deserved the title for Gallant Old Engine, if you ask me. Definitely one of Sodor's biggest chads, if to be honest. It definitely makes him more of a bigger hero when he comes back. After hearing that story, he deserves that big welcome. He earned it. He's responsible for Duncan, Peter, Sam, coming to Sodor. He's still responsible for Scar Lowry still running to this day. All of this happened if it weren't for you, Rheneas. You're a Chad. Anyways, we got one more narrow gauge engine story, and it's obviously the infamous Rusty to the rescue. Now, am I on the loved side or the hated side? I'm on the love it side. Of course, it's one of my favourites. I'm going to admit this. Obviously, the whole idea of a narrow gauge line going up to the other railway is silly as hell. Like, I'm on that minority. I agree. It's stupid, but it's definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. Like, I remember this story from childhood, and even I played it out because it's a fun little adventure story, and it definitely helps. Like, it definitely one I stick with stories, and it definitely shows that not all diesels are bad. Rusty, a diesel engine, saved a steam engine from scrap. Wow, what a way to go out with a diesel's character arc. Rusty is just so wholesome. Like, it's a shame his episodes are controversial because Rusty in the classic series is such a great character. And you know what? The sets as well look gorgeous as well. This nighttime shot as well. God blimey, what a sight. That is just beautiful. With the big moon and the town and these two engines just escaping. Also, I love Angela's echo, like the episode where it goes, "Who are you?" Like, that was definitely really, really good as well, and that stood out with me. Just amazing. Like, I know some people may be upset how they heavily screwed up Stepney in the TV series, but you know what? I'm okay with it. And speaking of Stepney, we're on to his episodes now. Thomas and Stepney is next, and again, another favourite of mine from Series 4. I'm going to be honest, I love a lot of the shots of Thomas himself in Season 4. The first shot of the scene, the first scene of the episode, the second scene, when he's saying to Percy, "My branch line is the pride of the line, wouldn't you agree?" And then the ending shots with Stepney are just beautiful. Obviously, it's typical Season 4 visuals. Obviously, I love it. But I really love how they tweak Stepney's special. This is one of these stories where I think it's better than the original book. Obviously, Stepney's special was just the start with it. It was just Stepney telling Edward about his history and some of the engines on his line. Then it comes to this whole bit. The fact that Brit&Co made a whole episode about Thomas and Stepney, just clever. And Thomas getting jealous of Stepney being another engine with a branch line instead of him. Just creative. I really love that. So yeah, obviously another favourite. Train Stops Play. Again, I think I'm going to have to put this in favourites. I love this one. I remember this. I only seen this one from me Chasers, Races and Runaways video, and it just stood out with to me. Just not much. Just a fun little Stepney story with him, Caroline. Just him getting to some adventure. Next up is Bowled Out, and I'm putting this in great. It's a nice little conclusion with Stepney and that, and you know what? I love Michael Angelos' voice for D261. Like, look at me, Duck and Stepney. Now I'll show you something. Like, it's so sly, and I like it. But but you know what? There's not much to say about this one, but I just think it's pretty great. I love Angelos' voice of D261. I love how annoyed the inspector is. And it's a nice little conclusion for Stepney's video episode. Like, he definitely went out in fine style before heading home to the Bluebell Railway. So yeah, banger of an episode. Next up is Henry and the Elephant, and we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes left. It's pretty crazy, like, the season 4 is into groups, but I think I'm going to put Henry and the Elephant is in great. Granted, it should have been back in season 4, but I'm okay with its placement here. Like, I'm okay with the starting scene with Thomas. I'm okay, like, how more of the circus played an impact here. And I don't mind the ending, like, where Thomas comforted Henry. That was really nice of him. I love it. I love this scene. I'm going to quote it. We started to dig up the block, but it grunted and moved. Rubbish. It's not rubbish. It's big and alive. That always gets me. Oh, it's so funny and I love it. And also, an elephant pushed me. An elephant hooshed me. Again, hilarious. I just love it so much. Bang of an episode, Henry and the Elephant. Really, really great. Now, Pink Pots and Queens. Where am I going to place this one? I want to probably think it's okay because you know what? I think I'm going to put this in great, actually. I do like this one. My only issues is like, why is it takes place after Down the Mine and they mentioned said episode and Off the Rails. But like Duck and Donald are present and shouldn't have been adapted back in like series 1. But there's no denying like this was a good season to adapt this episode. The God Save the Queen music that Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell, just brilliant music there. And you know what? It really made it feel special. So special that I'm baffled that it's not the season 4 finale. I think this would have made the perfect episode to end season 4 perfectly. Like, have this have Grandpa being big to start off the season. Have Pink Pots and Queens being big to end the season. Why didn't they do that? And it irritates me. Oh. But regardless, though, I do love Pink Pots and Queens. It's a wonderful episode, so to say. Also, you look like an ice cake, Henry. That will do for the real train. That bit is funny. I do like that bit. Anyways, on to the 100th episode. Now, Thomas in the special letter, and I'm putting this in favourites. Oh, what can I say? That, like, the 100th episode did feel big. Just like having nearly every single standard gauge engine doing, heading off, all appearing. The famous 8 heading off to the big city feeling big. And Thomas having the most craziest crash ever felt big. A lot of this stuff just screamed big for the 100th episode. I don't think I definitely would take between the two here. I would definitely take Pink Pots and Queens being the season 4 finale. I would have Thomas in the special letter stay as the 100th episode, if I'm totally honest. So yeah, Thomas in the special letter is just a great episode. Bullseyes, I think I'm going to put in this great. It was actually really nice to see Daisy again in the episode and just Toby showing up and like, this is how it's done. I'm okay that it didn't take place in season 2, Actually, no, I take that back. I did say I think it would have helped if like it was in season 2 to help Daisy's character arc a bit. But you know what? I'm also okay with it in season 4 as well. Also, I love Michelangelo's is oof when it says champion sniff that Daisy just and then the way he made Daisy go oof, that was funny. Also, oof. I'm sorry, silly me. But yeah, and then Toby just like coming back. I remember the real Xbox nerds when instead of saying Daisy was feeling exhausted, I loved it when he ended up going Daisy was feeling stupid. That was funny. And this was the last time we saw Daisy in the classic era. But you know what? I'm happy that I saw her again. Now it's Toad Stands By. Ooh, I really want to put this in favourites. It's such an amazing episode, but I think I'm going to have to put this in great. I have a little bit of a nitpick, and I shouldn't let it bother to me, but I think it could have been better. I'm just going to straight away say I think it could have been better in season 3, like I said, instead of Bulgy. Like, I'll be okay if Bulgy was in this one, but having it in season 3 to complete Oliver's character arc would have just been so satisfying. Granted, you could have said obviously it took place between season 3, but I don't know. I just think like it would have made Oliver like getting outdone by the trucks and then coming back in season 3 would have been a lot better. I mean, come on, you made a big prop for Bulgy. You could have at least made a new truck. I think it would have been more cheaper than anything. And hell, you introduced Toad in season 3 as well. Give him the episode. But I can't ignore it. Like, I love the truck singing and Oliver ripping Scruffy aside. It shows how much of a badass Oliver is. No denying that. Just what a Chad Oliver is. Fish next, and yeah, I think I will place this in favourites. I think it's just because the atmosphere and that it's just really, really nice. And of course, the shots of Henry, the starting scenes. I think I just love the fish episodes, and just Duck crashing into it is just one of the most brutal crashes. Well, yeah, Duck. Yeah, I take that back with a close shave. Duck crashed into a barber's and into a fish fan. Poor lad. He did get into a right pickle in that episode. 2 episodes left, and yeah, where am I going to play special attraction? Part of me wants to put in no care. You know what? I'm going to put this in don't care for as well. I think this is actually the weakest episode of season 4. Like, I do like it. Like, the crash is pretty awesome with Bulstrode, but like, how did it go from Toby like being missed out, and then Percy comes back, but then he's sent off to deal with Bulstrode, and then when he comes back to meet up with Toby, they just have it like we both had quite an adventure today. What that's just a bit baffling, but you know what? Despite being a bit of a baffling mess, it's fine. Just what I just no hurry to watch again. Mind that bike again. I just don't care for. I really don't. It's not a bad episode, but it's just one I simply don't care for, and it's sad to end it like this. Like I said, this should have been the season 4 finale. I'm okay with this being the second to last, but what? Why this episode? Why didn't they do this one? Why didn't Paint Pot Queens be this one? Why didn't these two swap? I'm sorry if I ranted, but not Paint Pots and Queens not being the season 4 finale and Mind That Bike is actually annoys me a bit, to be honest. But you know what? The episode's fine. That's all I can say about it. It's fine. But yeah, that's season 4, and oh man, what a banger of a series that is. The sets definitely hit their peak. I love Angelus's narration, and you know what? From what I've heard, so Colin's narration is quite nice as well. We got the ever fan favorite narrow gauge engines. We got Stepney. We got the 100th episode. I think season 4. You know what? Season 4 is amazing. Granted, though, I did say I have nitpicks. Like, one of my early nitpicks was for a few years was I didn't like how the episodes were selected into groups, like all the narrow gauge engines, then the Stepney ones, and then just the standard ones, the regular sort of engines. Like that didn't feel very. The last half just felt a bit boring to me, but rewatching the series as a whole now, I'm actually okay with that. But it's so weird thinking like you start off with the narrow gauge and then near the end of the series, like, wow, we're just with all the remaining cast of Sodor. But you know what? Season 4, like Season 3, did feel like a grand season, and it's amazing as well. Grand Puff is just the goat. And that's the last time I'm saying it. But yeah, as I said, I think some episodes could have been better in some places. But you know what? Like I just keep saying, season 4 is just fantastic. But season 5, oh, I can't wait to get to work on that video. But that's a video for another day. With that, this is Blue Engine 99 saying goodbye.